All right, man. Hi, early birds. About 20 minutes, 20 seconds. We'll go on live. We'll start, rather. It is live now. And I will charge my phone. Good evening. This is the Tibet Center, Kunchap Tarduling. It's 7 p.m. here in the northeast of the United States. This is our Buddhist center located in northern New Jersey and New York City under the direction of Chabje Ling Rinpoche, His Eminence Ling Rinpoche, also under the direction of Rato Kensur Tupten Lundup, also known as Geshe Nikki Vreeling. This is our twice weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma, specifically Stages on the Path to Enlightenment, the Lamrim Chenmo of Tsong-kha-pa. All the prayers we say are on the website in the FAQ section. Is there any problem with the sound, with the picture, or whatever, please let me and Mr. Smith know right away by text. Don't phone because my screen goes blank. If there's anyone for whom you want us to pray for when we do Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels, put their name in the chat box as soon as possible. And my usual disclaimer is that I don't see the whole chat box, so if I don't announce the name, it doesn't mean it wasn't there, or I don't care, but you know that. Anyway, prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living here, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon, and especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness. May they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form, emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing, they are not impure or pure, they neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra. The mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayat Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, mahasattva, should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva, mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. 1 second, I'm going to bring this light a little closer because the sunlight has faded, and so have we all. So this picture isn't as bright. Refuge and Bodhisattva vow, which we recite 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. May the teachings which are the sole medicine for suffering and the origin of every joy be materially supported and honored and abide for a very long time. I prostrate to Manjagosha, through whose kindness wholesome minds ensue, and I prostrate to my spiritual masters, through whose kindness I develop. And now, as a cause for the quick return of Rato Chingla Rinpoche, we recite this prayer written by His Holiness, a prayer for a swift return, and you'll find it on the website where all the prayers are. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lozang Tubuang Dorje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Lozang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening, yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled, supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel, return as the glory of Lozang Tenpe. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Srimata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So, the first part of our little presentation here will be general Buddhism. Usually beginners can get a nice taste of it, but tonight it's maybe for a little bit of the advanced practitioner. I'm going again from this book, the Geleg Kagyu tradition of Mahamudra. The first third of it or so is Alex Berzin's introduction, and it's more or less his Lamrim, stages of the path, and different tips along the Lamrim trail. Different elements that you do to practice, and he's commenting on them, like recognizing our mental blocks, where they are, etc. So we do certain things to free our minds to purify our minds so we can absorb these teachings because they're subtle. So this is from page 37. He's discussing certain things such as prostration, Vajrasattva practice. If you're new to Buddhism, Vajrasattva practice, I'll just say a few words about it, but it's a basic element of everyone's practice. So prostration, first of all, you may see beings making prostrations. What are they doing? Blah, blah, blah. Are they surrendering everything? No. Anyway, here's Alex, page 37. Making prostration is not a punishment or penance, not some oppressive thing we have to do and get over with quickly so that we can go on to the good parts. What good parts? Anyway, Buddha is not like an overbearing parent insisting that we do our homework before we can play any games. Rather, making prostration helps us loosen the mental block of being caught up in the contents of our experience. We just make prostration straight up and down, as Rose Burns and his mother would say. This does not mean that we make them mechanically, but just directly. We just do it without adding too much. Of course, we accompany our prostration with an appropriate motivation, visualization and recitation of either a refuge formula or a short text helpful for purification, such as the, quote, admission of downfalls. Doing so leaves little room in our mind for complaining, feeling sorry for ourselves, or worrying if we shall ever complete the 100,000. If you're a serious practitioner, they ask you to do a nundru, or whatever how you pronounce it, a batch of things, 100,000 water offerings, 100,000 prostration, recitation. It goes on. I asked Rinpoche about it, and he said, well, sometimes you have to do more, sometimes less. It depends if it worked, if you purified. So I said, well, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Your teacher will tell you. So you don't hold to the exact number. Oh, I didn't do it. I did 999. Never mind. Stop. Okay. So it's reasonable. But merely making prostrations itself, Alex goes on, can familiarize us with the approach to life of just doing things directly, straight up and down, without feeling tense. This helps us purify, to a certain extent, some of our mental blocks or obstacles and build up more positive potential. That's his word for merit, positive potential. To be able to actually see directly the nature of mind. And now on the same page, he's going to talk about Vajrasattva practice. And I'm keeping tabs of the time because last time I ran over too much last Wednesday night. And that's not nice. Page 37, Alex talks about Vajrasattva, and here it is. Another important preliminary is the recitation of the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva. We do that when we do Tara, for instance. 100,000 times or more for purification of negative potentials we have built up from previously committed destructive or, quote, non-virtuous actions. We accompany our recitation with an open admission to these negative actions and the acknowledgement that it was a mistake to have committed them. We feel regret, not guilt. Regret, not guilt. Make that a bumper sticker. We feel regret, not guilt. Offer our promise to try not to commit them again. Reaffirm our safe direction. He means refuge like that. Reaffirm our self-direction of refuge and our commitment to achieving enlightenment to be able to benefit everyone. There's the motivation, Mahayana. And graphically imagine a purification occurring with a complex visualization while we repeat the mantra. People think of purifying nectar coming in, etc. Whatever helps reinforce this idea that this practice is necessary and it's working, and it'll change you. What is it changing? The most important part of you, your mind. So, Tenzin, good evening. He goes on page 38. The state of mind with which we engage in this preliminary then is the same with which we make prostrations while reciting the admission of downfalls. In this way, Vajrasattva practice purifies us of negative potentials that, as karmic obstacles, would ripen into our experience of unhappiness or unpleasant situations that would prevent, respectively, our liberation or full ability to help others. Again, others. In addition to its usual benefit, however, such practice also serves as an excellent preliminary specifically for Mahamudra meditation. Now, this is all in the context of preparation for Mahamudra. It could be any other practice that you do. Because you have to have this supple mind, more subtle. supple and subtle, because usually gross thought after gross thought, we're going crazy. There's a deeper part of our mind, and we want to wake that up. One of the ways, he goes on, in which we experience having built up negative potentials is feeling guilt. He's big on guilt. Suppose we have foolishly spoken harsh words to our boss in a momentary fit of anger, which has caused us to lose our job and may cause us future difficulty in finding other employment. You and your big mouth. Anyway, if we become fixated on the contents of that experience, we solidify the event in our mind. We solidify the event in our mind. We do this with a lot of things, and it's not workable then. It becomes a block. I can't do anything about it. Oh my God. And it adds to tension and claustrophobia. No good. He continues, we freeze it in time and then dwell on it over and over again, identifying ourselves totally with what we did at that moment and judging ourselves to be a stupid, worthless, bad person. Yeah. Then the alternative, the hell with that, and you go crazy. Bring all this into like a reasonable mental posture. So, such classic guilt is usually accompanied with a feeling of stress and anxiety and considerable worry about what we are going to do now. So long as we do not let go of our stranglehold on the contents of that experience, we cripple ourselves from ever taking clear, self-confident action to remedy the situation by finding a new job or whatever it is. You solidify something, you're stuck. It's this, it's permanently part of me. It's what you think is you really isn't you. We'll find out. Alice goes on, visualizing our negativities, leaving us in a graphic form while we recite the 100-syllable Vajrasattva mantra. In other words, the nectar goes out and drains, however you want to do it, with the appropriate state of mind, helps us let go of our fixation on the contents of our past experience of having acted destructively. Then you could maneuver to the best of your ability. Consequently, it helps us let go of our guilt. This helps train us to let go of our fixation on the contents of every moment of experience, which is the essence of the beginning levels of Mahamudra practice. In this way, Vajrasattva serves as an excellent preliminary for Mahamudra. You release in Mahamudra, so I don't know it that well, but at all, as a matter of fact. Very little. One 3-day retreat doesn't make. But but you could see in any practice, and when you start mentally boxing yourself in, what good comes of that, even in everyday life, you know. Now, Guru Yoga. Ew. The LAM is big. The first part of it is always devotion to the Guru, which Chandra Rinpoche, His Holiness, always said, and he always told me and Nikki, don't talk of Guru Yoga. This society is not ready for that. It doesn't apply. They're going to misinterpret it. That's that. Just start with something basic. Because it gets very heavy. Some of the people tell you, read Ashvaghoshes, how to relate to the Guru. It's ridiculous, very strict. And it's also within the context of an Indian culture that's not there anymore, even in India. So anyway, here's a very common sense presentation of the meaning of Guru Yoga. This is page 38 of this wonderful book. I'll give it again. The Gelug Kagyu tradition of Mahamudra. Probably has a different cover, etc. But in the oven is samosas also. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm talking. We have an audience besides the cat and Bob and me. Anyway, we got to have fun here. Come on. Guru Yoga is another preliminary always stressed as a method for gaining inspiration or, quote, blessings. Oh, the Guru is blessing me. It is fairly easy to practice Guru Yoga on a superficial level. Does that ring a bell? We visualize before us our spiritual teacher in the appearance of either Shakyamuni Buddha, a Buddha form like Avalokiteshvara, or Tara, as we do every other Saturday, etc., or a lineage master such as Tsong-kha-pa or Karmapa, or your own personal teacher. You're lucky enough to have one. We then imagine lights of 3 colors emanating from this figure to us while we recite 100,000 times or more an appropriate mantra or verse while making fervent requests for inspiration to be able to see the nature of mind in this context, Mahamudra context. Mahamudra's mind looking at mind. It is very difficult, however, to understand on a deeper level what we are actually trying to do during and by means of such practice. What are we trying to cultivate on a psychological level? The answer revolves around one of the more difficult aspects of the Buddhist teachings, the proper relationship with a spiritual teacher. And this is, you can write volumes about, or you'll read volumes about. It seems that all the popular texts always talk about the guru, this and that. Popular magazines and stuff. Anyway, almost every Mahamudra text contains instructions like, quote, as an essential preliminary for Mahamudra practice, diligently perform Guru Yoga. Imagine that your body, speech, and mind becomes one with those of your Guru. Make fervent requests for inspiration to be able to see the nature of your mind. At first reading, it seems almost as if all we need to do is perform such visualization and make such requests, and then we shall live happily ever after as in a fairy tale. That's all we got to do. And a lot of people walk around with this attitude now, year after year, and they are boring to deal with. That's why I don't like it. They're boring. No. We shall receive inspiration that, like magic, will act as our sole cause for our gaining realization, independently of our having to do anything else. Even in the Jodo Shinshu school of Japanese Buddhism, which is like a Pure Land practice, in which we rely solely on the power of Amitabha to gain liberation and enlightenment, we implicitly understand from this formulation of the spiritual path that we must stop all ego-based efforts, which depends on realizing the deepest nature of, quote, me and mine. Not ego-based me, an ego-based mind, not mine, M-I-N-D. That's what he said. Thus, he goes we must obviously go deeper than just the superficial level of praying to our Guru to inspire us to see the nature of our mind, and then leaving it at that. Feeling that if we have enough faith and are truly sincere, we shall have our wish granted. All of a sudden, like having been touched on the head with a wizard's magic wand, we shall see and recognize the nature of our mind. Yeah. Very Hollywood. That doesn't happen. Sometimes in the text you read, and Milarepa bless the person, this and that went on. I shouldn't have fooled with the screen. That's not the case in reality. And I think those of you who practice realize, at a certain point where you've really done your homework and work, yes, there could be sudden realizations. At a certain point. Mind has a leveled nature, Alex goes on. Its conventional nature is mere clarity and awareness. It is what allows for anything to arise as an object of cognition and be known, clarity. Its deepest or ultimate nature is that it is devoid of existing in any fantasized impossible ways, such as independently of the appearances that give rise that it gives rise to as the objects it knows. In other words, it is dependent on the objects. It's not the mind and everything else. No. Consciousness depends on an object. There's all dependency all the way, everywhere. Reciprocity is everywhere. Guru Yoga is a profound, though not mystical, aid for seeing both. Let us examine the mechanism for each. This is going to get a little heavy, but it's necessary. When we practice Guru Yoga, we request our Guru for inspiration and then dissolve a replica of our Guru into us. Sometimes with Tara, we dissolve a replica of Tara. The stronger our fervent regard and respect for him or her, the more prominently we experience a blissful, vibrant state of mind as a result of this process. Now, that will happen when you're a longer-term practitioner. And maybe somebody has good roots from past lives that happens in sleep. Good for you. Yay. If our faith is mixed with attachment, the state of mind we gain is merely one of excitement, confused, distracted, and not very clear. So that's very important. This devotional mind cannot be mixed. This faith cannot be mixed with attachment. What happens? You get confused, distracted, not very clear. Attachment is an affliction. The mind's not operating on all cylinders, or whatever metaphor you want to use. It's limiting itself. But if our fervent regard and respect are based on reason, this blissful, vibrant state of mind is founded on confident belief. Being emotionally stable, it is extremely conducive to utilize as both the mind that sees its own conventional nature and the mind having this nature upon which to focus. That's a heavy statement. I'll read it again. Being emotionally stable, it is extremely conducive to utilize as both the mind that sees its own conventional nature and the mind having this nature upon which to focus. To understand how the process of Guru Yoga and requesting inspiration works to facilitate our seeing the deepest nature of mind, we need to understand how seeing our Guru as a Buddha fits within the context of the teachings on voidness and dependent arising. Now he's showing you, that's not me talking, not Alex. Oh. Now he's showing you the practical application of what we're studying when we try to figure out what emptiness is and here's what you do with it. Voidness, that's his term for emptiness. He uses the word voidness. It's okay, fine. Voidness means an absence. Same as emptiness. An absence of impossible ways of existing. We look for inherent existence, we don't see it, that's emptiness. Inherent existence is an impossible way of existing. So that's what he means by this. He has his own vocabulary. By the way, I recommend his website totally. It's wonderful. alexberzen.com or just Google Alex Berzin. His website is very, very good. He's a brilliant scholar, good translator, and has been in very close contact with the best teachers over the years. So I know him somewhat personally. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I knew him. He's got the goods, I would say to myself. Yeah, he's got the goods. So you listen to him. Anyway. When we imagine that a guru exists as a Buddha independently from his or her own side, for example, we are projecting an impossible way of existing onto that teacher. We're seeing them as inherent existence. Nothing works, okay? That mode of existence does not refer to anything real because nobody exists as this or that or as anything from his or her own side. Someone exists as a spiritual mentor, a Buddha, or both, only in relation to a disciple. A teacher arises dependently not only on a mind to which someone appears as a teacher, and not only on what the word or mental label teacher refers to, but also on the existence of students. Reciprocity, location. You got to think that way, or dependency. So the role, quote, teacher can't exist independently from the function of teaching, another dependence. It is defined, in fact, as someone who teaches. Hey, no, that was hard. The function of teaching could not possibly exist on its own if there were no such things as learning or learners. This is the exercise we do when we try to see if things are inherent existent or not. No, they depend on this and that and that. At first, it doesn't ring a bell. You go over it and go over it, slowly creeping up underneath. Wait, there's something here. This is not an instant recognition, the study of emptiness. But it's very firm, and it'll never leave us. As soon as we start picking it up, life after life, it'll grow, or quicker in this life if we work on it. That's what I found out a little. Okay. Thus, no one could be a teacher if there were no such thing as students. Or, I missed the line. The role teacher cannot exist independently from the function of teachings. It is defined, in fact, as someone who teaches. The function of teaching could not possibly exist on its own if there were no such things as learning or learners. Thus, no one could be a teacher if there were no such thing as students. In other words, no one, not even Shakyamuni Buddha, Tsong-kha-pa, Karmapa, or even our personal guru, could exist as a spiritual mentor if there did not also exist someone as a student. That's everything in the world is that way. Everything in being is that way. Even if someone is not teaching at this moment or has no students right now, that person could only exist as a teacher if he or she had been trained as a teacher, which could come about only if there was such a thing as, in the universe as students. They may not be there right now, but moreover, someone is functionally a teacher only when he or she is actually teaching, and that can only be in relation to a student. He's chipping away at our idea of solid reality, independent, and slowly creeping around. He's very good. The same line of reasoning applies to the interdependently arising existence of Buddhas and sentient beings. Sentient beings are those with limited awareness, while Buddhas are those with the fullest capacity to help such beings. No one could be a Buddha if sentient beings never existed. This is why it is said that the kindness of sentient beings far outweighs the kindness of the Buddhas in enabling us to attain enlightenment. He goes on. We're at the end of page 40 now. Since gurus and Buddhas do not exist independently from disciples or students, it follows that neither teachers nor disciples exist as totally independent entities, like two solid concrete posts, either of which could exist on its own, even if the other one never had existed, although the concrete posts themselves are not entire. But anyway, you got the idea. This, that's that. It doesn't exist in life. And if you have that assumption, you're going to have trouble. We can therefore logically conclude that it is a fantasy to imagine that a guru can produce an effect on a disciple as someone solid out there, transmitting a solid effect like tossing a ball to someone solid in here, namely me. Things are inherently existent, or theoretically, because they don't exist, can react with anything. That's it. Nobody can teach. Nobody can do anything. So that's, but we don't understand that yet. We still think, I got to go there and get this, and he. But let these words chip away at our prejudices. So eventually we'll get out of this crappy samsara that we're in and enjoy ourselves. Yeah, that's what we're after, and help others too. Most importantly. Effects such as gaining realization on the nature of mind can only arise by depending on many factors, among them the joint efforts of both the spiritual guide and the disciple. As Buddha has explained, the bucket is not filled with water by the first or last drop of water, it is filled by a collection of a very large number of drops. That didn't resonate with me that much, but I'll let it go. Realization on page 41, Alex continues, realization of the conventional and deepest natures of mind is the result of a long and arduous process, he's saying here over countless lifetimes, maybe, of collecting and cleansing. You're in it for the long run. Relax. Take your time. You got plenty of time. Your body might die, your mind doesn't. It's got to be in a good position so we can carry this practice on and on. He continues, the former refers to building up two bountiful stores of positive potential or merit and deep awareness, the two collections of merit and insight. We have to, we've heard this, but merit and insight. While the latter means purifying ourselves of negative potentials and obstacles, in addition, we must listen to correct teachings on the two true levels of the nature of mind, conventional and deepest. Ponder them until we gain a working level of understanding, and then meditate properly and intensively on them. By practicing in this way, we build up the causes for gaining realization and attainments. Inspiration from our guru cannot substitute for this process. You just want to get an instant one, right? And people will go along with, oh, yeah. And then you'll fool yourself for a few days. Yeah, I'm really different now. And you'll tell all your friends, oh, blew me away. Yeah. It's, some say you're the same schmuck that just got off the bus. You didn't change. Inspiration from a spiritual master is, Alex goes on, however, the most effective means for causing the seeds of potential for realizations that we build up through these methods to ripen more quickly so as to produce their results more immediately. A catalyst, the guru could be a catalyst for a quicker activation of these good seeds that we planted by our hard work. That's important. It can ripen more quickly. Inspiration as a circumstance for the ripening of causes cannot by itself bring about any results if there are either no causes or insufficient ones for it to ripen. Yes, you have to have something for the guru to activate. You don't, then inspirational, quote, blessings from a guru, a lineage founder, or even Shakyamuni himself cannot function like magic to bring us realization and enlightenment. I'm sorry. There goes your weekend, right? Okay. Therefore, we should not deceive ourselves into thinking that we can avoid the hard work necessary to overcome our problems so that we can gain everlasting deep happiness and the ability to be of most benefit to others. You hear hard work, don't freak out. Going to work is just hard work. Nothing harder than our daily life tasks is asked of us in Buddhism. That's it. Never mind Milarepa's students, etc. There's very high-level practice at that point. Unusual teacher, unusual student. Yes, they did this and they did that, but their minds weren't like ours. The students, and of course Milarepa's. Don't transpose those things to our life. Unless you're really great. I don't know. Maybe you won't. Maybe you're a little Tsong-kha-pa. Anyway, Alice continues, inspiration can definitely help us reap the effects of our efforts more quickly and is widely praised as the most effective means for so doing, but it can never substitute for the sustained effort over many lifetimes, again he mentioned, to build up the causes for these effects or those effects. In summary, for one to gain inspiration and then actually realize the nature of mind, it is crucial that not only the disciple but also the teacher understand how each of them exists and how the process of cause and effect can only function on the basis of voidness or on the basis of emptiness or on the basis of non-inherent existence or on the basis of dependent arising. You can repeat all the synonyms. An absence of impossible ways of existing. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Page 42, he's almost done with his little teaching today. If either believes that self and other exist independently and concretely like cement posts, that inspiration and realization exists like a hard ball, and that the cause and effect process of gaining inspiration and realization works like tossing that ball from one post to the other, then no matter how skillful the spiritual mentor might be and how receptive and sincere the disciple might be, the effect will be blocked, of course. And I don't think a skillful teacher would act that way, with that mode of being in his mind or her mind. If we believe that what we experience in relation to our guru, even as a Buddha, exists somewhere concretely, quote, out there, and does not arise by depending on many factors, not the least of which is our mind. We're part of this. How can he or she send us either inspiration or the understanding of the nature of our mind, even if we request it nicely with total sincerity and proper motivation, and a pound of butter like they did in Tibet or whatever? No. Okay, Alex, we'll leave it at that now because we have to return to our excitement. 42. Okay, got it. I don't want to repeat this next time. In the LAM section that we're on now, there's a big argument between the mind-only school, the Sautantrikas, the Svatantrikas, the Prasangikas. Basically, the mind-only school is being focused on now in the form of arguments. Before we get into it, we have to know what the mind-only school is. Last week I was going to introduce this. We didn't have much time. Last class, rather. Excuse me. This is a very nice book, which you can get for like $6, $7. Presentation of Buddhist Tenets by Jetsun Chichi Jaltsen, Tibetan, English, and Mandarin, so you know any Chinese people. Available on Amazon. Here it is. Take a screenshot if you wish. If you wish. S'il vous plaît. Right? Wonderful book. It's cut and dry. It's a textbook. It's a reference book. It's very, very quick. It's got a lot of Tibetan script in it if you want to learn the language, etc. and so forth. So I'm going to page 81, the Chittamatra Mind-Only School. This whole book does nothing but first talk about the non-Buddhist schools and then all the Buddhist schools, the four schools of tenets. For the fourth one divides, so you could say 5 schools, but we'll leave it at that. Let's not get at it. That's Tibetans argue about 4 or 5 all the time. Tibetans. So this was printed, I think, as who printed this? Tenzin Yangzom. He did the whole thing, and he's doing it. It's presented very inexpensively for the purpose of spreading the Dharma. So very pure motivation behind this. Wonderful. Anyway, so page 81. He's going to define the Chittamatra or mind-only school. And of course, this is Jetsun Chichi Jaltsen. I don't know his dates. What is it? We'll worry about that later. Let's get some information. The Chittamatra, literally mind-only school, shall be explained in the same 7 sections as before. What's its definition? What are the divisions of it? What's the etymology of the word? This is how they went about all the other schools. So you really want to train your mind. This is the text to grab a hold of. $7, you got to have it. You must have it. The fourth thing, assertion on perceptible objects. What do they think? Assertion on object possessors. Object possessors are us. Assertions on selflessness and presentations of grounds and paths. So what's their idea of emptiness? What's their idea of the person? What's their idea of perception, etc.? And what's their idea of the path? All the schools are examined within that template. So you can eliminate your confusion. This is how you eliminate confusion. Cut to the chase. A very good cut to the chase book. And I don't think we're going to get to the Enlightenment tonight, but we're getting to it. First, the definition. A Chitta Matra person is one, or he puts it this way, one who does not accept external objects and asserts truly existent self-cognizes minds and propounds Mahayana tenets is the definition of a proponent of Chitta Matra. Proponents of mind only, sometimes called Chitta Matrin, sometimes called proponents of cognitions, Vijnaptivadan, the Vijnaptivadans, yogic practitioners, Yogacaram, but everybody practices yoga, like so Tantrika school, the Sutra school, everybody uses sutras, but that's the way they threw the names of. They're all, these terms are all, Chittamatra, Vijnaptivadan, Yogacara, are all mutually inclusive. They mean the same thing. What are the divisions? True aspectarians and false aspectarians. We may not get into those weeds, but let's let him define it. A proponent of Chittamatra philosophy who asserts, and this is the true aspectarians, a proponent of Chittamatra philosophy who asserts that a form apprehending direct perceived in the continuum of an ordinary being, which engages the appearance of a gross form, not polluted by the propensities of ignorance, is the definition of true aspectarians. Just let that lay in your mind. We'll leave it alone. We'll go through this. And then the next, a proponent of Chittamatra philosophy who asserts that a form apprehending direct perceiver in the continuum of an ordinary being, the mechanism of seeing things, the continuum of an ordinary being, see how they speak, which engages the appearance of a gross form polluted by the propensities of ignorance, is the definition of false aspectarians. True aspectarians are 1. Proponents of an equal number of objects and subjects. There are half-egists, there are non-pluralists, and there are 3 divisions of it. So let it go. There are reasons why they are designated as such. Now here he gets into it a little bit. When an eye consciousness grasping the model colors on the wings of a butterfly grasps the model colors, from the object side, the aspect of each individual color, such as blue or yellow and so forth, is delivered. From the side of the subjective mind, each different color, such as blue and yellow, arises truly in its own aspect, little pieces of it coming in there. Holders such a view are proponents of an equal number of perceived objects and perceiving minds. The minds pick up all of this, that, and the other. But remember, in this school, the mind creates what's out there. There's nothing out there. Let it roll. You're just getting this as an imprint. I wish a teacher who has experience or an ordained nun or monk could read this, then we'd really get a loom. When such grasping takes place from the object side, the thing you look at, the aspect of each individual different color, such as blue and yellow and so forth, is delivered. From the side of the subjective mind, each different color, such as blue and yellow, arises in an aspectless manner. Holders of such view are proponents of a metaphorical half-egg. We'll go through here. When such grasping takes place from the object side, the aspect of each individual color, such as blue and yellow and so forth, is not delivered, but rather the aspect of a mere conglomeration is delivered. From the side of the subjective mind, each different color, such as blue and yellow, does not arise in an aspectless manner, but rather in the aspect of the mere conglomeration is delivered. Instead of seeing them all individual, you saw the whole mass. Holders of such view are the proponents of non-duality and non-diversification. And the false aspectarians are tainted false aspectarians and untainted. We'll not get into that. Just to hear it, okay? We won't go into why this, why that, because we're going to get this more clear. I just wanted to introduce you to this text, which if you really want to study, the notes are right on the page with the translations. And if you're studying Tibetan language, which I'm not, or at least the script of it, it's invaluable. If you speak Chinese, you have all the things in Chinese that help you understand the way the Tibetans present their philosophy. So you have a Chinese friend, give him a book. So let's get Jeffrey Hopkins, the Bible. He will display the mind-only school as only he can. Chalon Rinpoche thought this was a wonderful before it was even a book, it was a university PhD thesis, and it was one of those microfilm things. We all got it before the book even came out, and he would talk extensively about it, especially since he knew the prime teachers that contributed to this work. What Jeffrey did is put a tape recorder on and asked the lamas questions, etc. What they said, he put down. And Rinpoche thought that was great. He didn't make up his own. He said what the lamas, this is just like we studied. So, Kensel Lekton is the main one that he's now been reborn as Tempa Phunsak Rinpoche. He's in Gomang University, Gomang, he's a lama, Gomang Monastery. So, Chitamatra, this is on page 365 of this wonderful book, Meditation on Emptiness. I understand it is very rare now, and they're charging Klondike prices for it. We have a house copy here in the center, and it's not a book you sit down and read by the fire, as I would say, because it's a textbook, and you read pieces at a time. So, what is Chitamatra? Chitamantrans, according to mind-onlyists, he said, are so called because they assert that all phenomena are of the nature or entity of the mind. He says also they're all called Vijnanaptivadins and Vijnaptivadins for the same reason. Vijnanavadins and Vijnaptivadins, that's the words, for the same reason. This is not the same as asserting that all phenomena are mind. You can't say everything is the mind. No, because minds are observers of objects, and if all phenomena were minds, stones and so forth would already observably have objects of observation. So every phenomenon is not mind. So mind only, you can't take it too literally. So that clears up a little mistakes, misinformation that we might have thought of in our own mind. No. Rather, just as in a dream, objects are not the mind that perceives them, but also not separate entities from the mind. Oh, okay. Like a dream, objects are not the mind that perceives them. They're objects in the dream, but also not separate entities from the mind. So the objects of the world are not the consciousness that perceive them, but also not separate entities from those consciousnesses. So that's how they get out of it, where, if everything's a mind, then the stone can see things and operate like a mind, as it's clear and knowing. I don't. Maybe it is, and nobody told us. I don't. Anyway, he goes on. Another name for Chitamatrans is Yogacharans, because they arrange the process of the path from the viewpoint of yoga. This, however, is just an etymology, and not an etymology, and not a definition, because all Buddhist tenets are presented for the sake of yoga's practice. So, then here he goes again. The Chitamatrans are divided like the Sautrantikas, the school before them, into followers of scripture and of reasoning. Followers of scripture follow Vasabandhu, followers of, among other things, followers of reasoning follow Dharmakirti and Dignaga. More logic comes in, more reasoning. Here the former, here in this thing, mainly of Asanga's 5 treatises. The Yogacara school, those who are followers of scripture follow Asanga's 5 treatises on the levels, and the latter of Dignaga's compendium valid condition, and Dharmakirti's 7 treatises on valid condition. Though in general, the term Chitamatran refers to the followers of scripture, that is, of Asanga. The followers of reasoning are said to be the more advanced of the 2 groups. For us, this is hard to gobble up now, but it's all right. This is because Asanga teaches that there are 3 final vehicles, meaning that some sentient beings never achieve Buddhahood because their vehicle is completed at a lower stage on which they remain forever. That's a provisional presentation. There's one vehicle. The Lotus Sutra said that. But you cannot say that to certain people. People who are suitable vessels for this type of teachings has to be led gradually. Yeah, there's 3 vehicles. The Lotus Sutra even says that. And it gives a metaphor of, yes, now you've arrived, because the people were tired on the path, traveling. This beautiful city, that's it, we must have achieved. Yeah, look at this. After they rest, and then the Buddhists say, okay, there's more than this. Let's go. You're rested now. Let's continue. You have a mind built up that can now handle the next process on a path on the way to Buddha, the next part of the path. That's the reason why things are presented provisionally. All the word of the Buddha. Of course, it becomes a big point of argument, but I'm glad I don't have to get involved. According to him, Asanga, that is, some hearers only realize that a person is not a self-sufficient entity and never realize that the objects and subjects are empty of being separate entities. We'll leave these alone. The hearer's aim is only towards solitary peace. The Chitta mantra follows of Dharmakirti, however, point to the impermanence of fetters and to the skill of the Buddha in teaching, and thereby show that all eventually cognize both selfless and attain the highest enlightenment. So they are a Mahayana school, don't forget. They present the Mahayana path to Buddhahood. Thus, for them, there is only one final vehicle, and all sentient beings eventually attain Buddha. Let's hear it for that. Put your hands together. Okay, we're going to have to let it go. I'll just do one more section. The Sautrantikas, following reason, interpret Dharmakirti's teachings otherwise and accept three final vehicles. We're not worrying about that. The Chitta mantra followers of Scripture are the only Buddhist schools to accept 8 consciousnesses. This is important to know. The 5 sense consciousness and a mental consciousness, everybody accept that. But then a mind afflicted with egoism, number 7, klistamanas, or non-yi in Tibetan, and a mind basis of all of laya vijnana or kunjinampashepa, something like that, the storehouse consciousness, where everything is sitting and then things come out of that. When they use a laya vijnana or just a laya for short, they don't mean what the enigmas mean. Don't get confused. A laya and the enigma system, and even Kagyu Mahamudra system means ground, clear light, mind, Rigpa, whatever. So anyway, the followers of reasoning in all the Buddhist schools assert only 6 consciousness, with some of the functions of the 7th and 8th being performed by the mental consciousness. There are sub-schools of Chitta mantra, etc. Here's his definition of a Chitta mantra. A person propounding Buddhist tenets who uses reasoning to refute external objects and who asserts that dependent phenomena such as consciousnesses truly exist as they appear, in other words. So we'll leave it at that. It's sticky. You have to have some context, though, some idea of some gestalt, if they still use that term, when you start following the LAM arguments. Otherwise, it's not going to make sense. Oh, you said this, but according to the way you think, we don't know the way they think. So now we can maybe follow the argument for what it's worth. Anyway, it's good to know things. Your mother told you. Sutra of the Recollection, for whom will we pray? Quickly. Nobody's out there anyway tonight, so that's only 2 people, Richard and Aradna. Bulla. Good evening, Richard. Okay. Plenty of people to pray for. All those people who are getting shot left and right all over the place, including Ukraine, Ethiopia. We can go on. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavata, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak, Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans, is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit, does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The Holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavad is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Yana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms, this alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. Very sad. As a further cause for the quick return of Rata Chungla Rinpoche, we can't wait. Straighten everything out here. His Holiness recommends us reciting prayer for the flourishing of J. Tsong-kha-pa's teachings by Lozang Jaltenma. Though he's the father, producer of all conquerors, as a conqueror's son, he produced the thought of upholding the conqueror's dharma in infinite worlds. Through this truth, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. When of yore in the presence of Buddha Indraketu, he made his vow. The conqueror and his offspring praised his powerful courage. Through this truth, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. That the lineage of pure view and conduct might spread, he offered a white crystal rosary to the sage, who gave him a conch and prophesied. Through this truth, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. His pure view, free of eternity or destruction, his pure meditation cleansed of dark fading and fog, his pure conduct practiced according to the Conqueror's orders, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Learned, since he extensively sought out learning. Reverent, rightly applying it to himself. Good, dedicating all for beings and the doctrine, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Through being sure that all scriptures, definitive and interpretive without contradiction, advice for one person's practice, he stopped all misconduct. May the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Listening to explanations of the three Pitakas, realized teachings, practice of the three trainings, his skilled and accomplished life story is amazing. May the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Outwardly calmed and subdued by the hearer's conduct, inwardly trusting in the two-stages practice, he allied without clash the good paths of Sutra and Tantra. May the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Combining voidness explained as the causal vehicle with great bliss achieved by method, the effect vehicle, heart essence of 80,000 Dharma bundles, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. By the power of the ocean of oath-bound doctrine protectors, like the main guardians of the three beings' paths, the quick-acting Lord Vaishravana Karmayama, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. In short, by the lasting glorious Guru's lives, by the earth being full of good, learned, reverent holders of the teaching, and by the increase of power of its patrons, may the Conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. And now we will recite or meditate on, as we recite, 8 verses on training the mind. Not for training the mind, on training the mind. I always had that wrong after all these years. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. So our next class will be the next Monday night, which I forgot the date already. There's no Tara this Saturday. Let's see, the 17th, Monday night. Don't forget to pray for some of our followers, members, or whatever. Lori Rankin and our sister also, whom we know very well, Maya, who have battling their own health problems. So keep them in your prayers. It works, as we know. So thank you for your very patient listening. This is a tough topic, and we don't hold back here. We at least get you used to hearing these terms. So thank you very much for listening. Big love to all of you.